Happy Sunday! We are so glad you could join us. We have some awesome things planned tonight, but before we get right to it, why don't you take a second and invite a friend to the party? We would love to give you or said friend a Starbucks gift card. All you have to do to enter is take a quick trip to our Facebook page, give it a big like, and then invite 2 friends to like it as well. Then rush on back and tag those 2 friends that you invited in this live. It's that easy, and you'll automatically be entered to win a Starbucks gift card and thus a cup of overpriced but irreplaceable happiness. Again, just like our Facebook page, invite 2 friends and let us know which friends you invited by tagging their names in the live stream comments. The winner will be announced at the end of the live stream, so be sure to stay tuned. Well, we sure have a special guest tonight, so without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you David LaDuca. Please do not hold back your applause because believe me, this guy deserves it. David is a man of many talents. However, for the sake of time, I'll only mention a few. He is a professional performer, an experienced actor, a playwright, a producer, a talent coach, and I had the honor of calling him a friend. We were introduced in the Bahamas while volunteering at a local school for students with special needs to assist them as they participated in a national talent competition. Similar in nature to Evolve. Evolve is a platform for talented young adults to share their work, be encouraged in their artistic pursuits, and be coached by professionals in their field. We would love to invite you and your friends to join a community of creators and coaches who share your passion for the arts. Just visit our page to learn more. That is why, as frequently as we're able, we invite established professionals in the arts, like David, to come and share their expertise with you on our page and in our group for free. Our dream is to see young adults from all walks of life feel supported and gain the experience and knowledge that they need to chase after their dreams. And David practically wrote the book on helping people achieve their dreams. So why don't you show him some love, comment a clap emoji, and tap that heart reaction as he joins us live all the way from his home in Houston, Texas. Welcome to the stage, David LaDuca.
Hello, everybody. My name is David LaDuca, and I'm glad to be joining you here from Houston, Texas. And it's an honor for me to be part of Evolve's live stream coaching session today up in New England. And I hope that you'll find things to be informative and that you learn something today. And that you'll stick around with Evolve, because I know that programs like Evolve are very, very valuable for young artists who want to develop their talents and share them with the world. As a young artist, I think my first paying gig, my first professional play, I was 13 years old, and I've been doing it ever since. I'm an actor, a singer. I was also a dancer. I worked on Broadway, and now I do more. I'm a little older now, so I don't dance much anymore, but have done a lot of film and television and commercials, and also started to coach people to do that work. And and I enjoy it very, very much. So I'm hoping that you'll find some of the words that I have to say today useful as you are embarking on your journey to let the world know about your talents. So one of the things I'd like to talk about first is about why do people even want to be an artist? What is it that makes you want to sing? What makes it is that you want to be an actor or a model or a photographer or a visual artist, a graphic artist? And I think that it all comes down to the idea that artists have something to say. There's something about the world that feel they can improve upon or comment on or impact in such a way that they will make the world better with their art. So that's a really valuable thing to know about yourself, that you have something to say, and being able to sort of hone in on that and ask yourself those questions. What do I have to say? What is it about the world that maybe I'm not happy with, or that I love, or what is my take on things that I can share? And that really is what being an artist is all about. Years ago, there was a woman named Martha Graham. She was a modern dancer. And Martha Graham, the modern dance movement started in 1930s, 40s, came out of ballet, but it was freer, and it was sort of turned things on their ear, much like how music evolves. There was classical music that went to more popular music, and then rap, of course, came in, and now we have our contemporary styles of today, this very moment, and that's always evolving. There's that word. Evolving is a very important part of being an artist. You come into yourself, you learn something, you expand yourself, you evolve in your craft. Very important. Martha Graham, she had a quote, and it was called, the quote had revolved around a concept that she had called divine dissatisfaction. And her idea was exactly what we're talking about here, that artists have a dissatisfaction in the world, a divine dissatisfaction. It doesn't mean they're mad at everything. It means they have an insight into how the world might be better, or how the world might be different, or they have something to say that's going to impact everybody. And this divine dissatisfaction is the thing that fuels all of us as artists. So it's really important to understand your personal divine dissatisfaction. I happen to think that we don't laugh enough, that we don't enjoy our moments enough, our in the moments enough. And so I'm always about, when I'm doing my work, how do I make this moment something people can hold on to? Can it be a funny moment? Is it a serious moment? Is it a moment we can all connect to in our heart? Is it a moment that makes me think, that makes the person who's listening to me think in a different way, that might inspire them to do something with their lives, as other people have inspired me to do something with my life? So art has this beautiful way of communicating our wants, our desires, our passions, and you want to use your craft to do that effectively. All artists are seeking the best way to do that. So I guess I'll just ask you to, maybe spend a couple minutes with yourself this week and ask yourself, what do I have to say? What do I want my art to do? How do I want to impact the world with what I'm doing? If I'm a songwriter, what do I want to write about that is going to touch someone's heart, or give somebody a sense that, hey, I'm not alone. I've had that feeling too. This sense of universality. We're all in the same world together. And so a lot of times you could be watching TV, or you're watching a clip on YouTube or whatever, and you just think, that person is so talented. I could never do that, because they were born with way more talent than me. I want to tell you something about talent. Talent is this word that a lot of people misunderstand. And I know this in my heart because I've lived long enough to experience the various ups and downs of having a natural gift, not feeling like I had as much to offer as maybe other people who sang better or danced better or whatever. And then coming to realize that talent is 95% perspiration. It's only 5% the inspiration. But when you have an idea, that's the 5%. That 95% follows the idea. How are you going to make it happen? What are you going to do? So today, I'm going to talk about a few different ways that we can look at ourselves and improve ourselves as artists, so that we can take what we've been naturally given and expand on that. And so we can bring more of ourselves into the world. So one of the first things I would always ask myself is, how can I make things simpler? Because the world seems so complicated, you know? And so I would go to look at, I love to cook. And so a good way to look at it is when you have a recipe with like 3 ingredients, like scrambled eggs with cream cheese and chives. I'm just making this up as I'm talking. You make sure that those are the best eggs you can have. And that is a good quality cream cheese. And those are the freshest chives because you only have 3 ingredients. It's a simple recipe, but simple is not easy. And I'm going to say it again. Simple is not easy. You want to keep your life simple. You want to keep your craft simple so you can bring the best. But in order to be simple, you have to set up some boundaries around all the noise and the complications that come into your life so that you can keep as a priority your craft. That is the simplicity you're after. So all that noise, all those frustrations, all those thoughts in your heads that say, I can't do it, that all goes away when you keep the simple path of this is my craft and this is how I'm going to make myself better at it. Now, it's a hard thing to do. Simple is not easy. So, what do you do to, in a sense, take your thoughts and quell them, all those, fearful thoughts, or thoughts about failing or thoughts about not being good enough or not being enough or, what do you do with them? How do you manage that? The best way that I could describe that is just to be true to yourself. Shakespeare said it the best, to thine own self be true. In other words, let's say you're a singer. Now, you might think, I have to sing really loud. Loud is good. Or you might think, I have to sing really high. People who sing high, like, I love that. But let's say you're not really a loud singer. Let's say you have a really quiet, soft, intimate voice. Let's say you maybe not have a range that makes you speak really high, sing really high. Take what you've got and make that the best it can be. If you're an intimate singer, work on how to make that the best intimate singing that you can deliver. If you don't have that high voice, where's my good notes? How can I work to make those the best notes? Just like the recipe with the scrambled eggs and the cream cheese and the chives. The best eggs, the best cream cheese, the best chives. You don't want to make that recipe with inferior products. And the same token, you're not going to grab everything off the shelf if you only need 3 ingredients. Keep it simple. Always hone down to that very simple path. Another thing I wanted to talk about, because I think it's really, really important. It's something that I've learned from a lifetime of being in this business. Do you know I have never waited at a table, which is probably the most proud thing I could ever say about myself, that I was able to earn my living so far with my craft. That is a very humbling thing to say. It may sound to you like that's conceited or, oh, he's just bragging. But in reality, it's because I have worked on those parts of myself to the point that that's all I wanted to do with my life. I didn't want to work in a restaurant. I didn't want to work in an office. I wanted to perform. I wanted to do my performing work. And so I knew that I had to be really good at it in order to be successful at it, in order to make money at it. But there was always something that I never thought about. And that is the idea of being famous. Does one have to be famous? Now, only you can answer that for yourself. But I will tell you that making money and being famous, those are byproducts that come to people. It does or doesn't. But if you're true to yourself and you make yourself do your work the best that you can, at the end of the day, you can live with the pride that I'm explaining to you. I'm not famous. A lot of people think I am, but I'm not. A lot of people think, it's all relative, right? There's always someone more famous. There's always someone thinner, always someone prettier, blah, 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 right? So, but I know when I go to bed at night after I've worked hard on maybe some writing I'm doing or performing I'm doing, learning a new song, I know when I go to bed and I think about, what did I do today? I really worked hard on that song. I got that note that I couldn't get before. I'm working on that phrasing. It felt good. All those little things, that is what you hold in your heart for your whole life. Money comes and goes. Fame comes and goes. But being true to yourself and your craft is the best gift that you can give to yourself and the best use of your time as you're pursuing those gifts. So I'm going to talk a little bit about those things. Successful people, they have no fear. Okay, so if you do have fear, you have to sort of face it and say, that's not helpful. I will have no fear. People who are successful, they understand that failures are actually defining moments. You cannot make an omelet until you break the egg. So when you fail, you learn. I'm not doing that again. Or, okay, I know why that didn't quite work out. I'm going to work on that thing so that never happens again. If you went through your life and everything you did was easy, you wouldn't learn anything. And who would care? But when artists struggle towards achieving, they're bringing things into their lives that strengthen their character, that make them who they are. And that is what makes you unique in the world, so that you can share yourself and mean something to people because you're being true to you, to yourself. What do you have to say? Come back to that. So think about that you don't be afraid to fail. You'll only learn from that. The most successful people fail all the time, and they laugh it off because they know it's a learning experience for them to get to improve on what they are doing. So I'll encourage you to make mistakes, make big mistakes, and then learn from it. No better way to strengthen your character and make yourself better. So the idea of not having fear is very important. And the other side of fear is courage. You have to have courage to go after your dreams. And if your dreams are big dreams, then you need a lot of courage. My mom would always tell me when I was a kid, shoot for the highest branch, because if you go to the lowest branch, you get to the end of it, it'll break, you'll fall back down to the ground, and you won't know what's at the top of the tree. But if you shoot for that highest branch, if you go big dreams, what you learn along the way, even if you don't achieve that dream, is more than if you had let it all go because you were afraid or you didn't have the courage or whatever. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Because you'll be proud of yourself when, even if it doesn't work out the way you wanted, the stuff you learn along the way make you so much of a better person. I've met a million people that all want to be artists and whatever. I've worked with tons of people who no longer do their craft. As a dancer, a lot of my dancer friends, they're done dancing. We're all, our bodies won't do it anymore. So they've gone on to do other things, but they'll all tell you, I guarantee you, they all tell you the stuff that they learned by honing their craft as a dancer, their discipline, taking care of their bodies, the idea of sharing yourself with the world, gave them all these different tools that when they did decide to do something else, they were miles ahead of everybody else. So I say, go for it until you don't want to go for it. And then go for it a little more. And then if you really don't think you can, cool. You don't have to. But what you learned along the way is going to serve you for the rest of your life. You'll be very glad you did. So I just wanted to share that with you. Another thing that successful people do is they look at themselves like a company. Okay? So I'm David LaDuca Inc. You're who you are Inc. And if you're your own CEO, your own chief executive officer, you have an opportunity to make your product that your company, that's you, is putting forth. You have the opportunity every day to make that product better. And when you're given a day, the next day, to do something, it's really good to take advantage of the moment, really to do something for your career moving forward. So one of the things that I learned when I was very young, someone told me, and it really does make a lot of sense and it serves you, is to do 3 things every day for your career. 3 things. Now, so when I wake up in the morning, I take a little notepad and I write down 3 things on that notepad. And I make sure by the end of the day that I've done those 3 things. Now, it doesn't have to be, make a YouTube video or go audition for The Voice. It doesn't have to be those things. They can be small things like practice your craft, exercise, meditate, do some yoga, relax yourself, stress relief. Email a few contacts and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I haven't seen you in a while, but I just wanted to update you. Because when you put your name in front of people, often they remember you. But if you don't do it, they won't remember you. Very simple. My 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Delata, she would always say to me, behold the turtle that only makes progress when he sticks his neck out. Put yourself out there. 3 things every day. You can post on social media. You got Instagram, you got Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Patreon. You got a ton of different things. You guys know more about this than I do because you're digital natives. I had to learn all this stuff and I'm still learning, and you guys could probably teach me a lot about all this stuff. Take advantage of all those things that you already know about and some things that you'll learn about, and figure out ways to inject yourself into that sea of great ideas and great people, because you can be one of those great people too. So 3 things every day. They could be little things. They could be what you consider big things, but do 3 things every day. No matter what it is, you'll feel better about it. The other thing successful people do is they take control of their lives. They don't look at themselves like victims of circumstance, or if they find themselves in a bad situation that the world's out to get them, or it's just too hard, there's too many people doing it and all that stuff. When you take your life into your own hands, then you get to see that your fate is fully dependent on how you approach your life. You, to a certain degree, the pursuit of an artistic career is a difficult thing because there are a lot of things that are not in your control. You may be like, as an actor, I'll audition for something and most jobs I don't get. I probably do 20 auditions a month and I might get 1. That doesn't stop me from doing the other 19, because somewhere in those 19 that I didn't get, there's somebody in there, a casting director or someone who will say, that guy's not right for this job, but I like him, so I'll remember him for something else. And I can tell you, I've gotten phone calls months later from people said, you came in for that one spot, you weren't right for it, but we have another one that we're thinking of you for. So go out there and do it. The more you take control of your circumstances, the more successful you will be. You can have a mindset of already achieving success in whatever way. And when you do that, you walk into a room with a whole different attitude. Oftentimes I'll go into an audition. There's a lot of people standing around. They're ready they want me to be good. They want to hire you. They want to hire somebody. And so when you go into the room with that mindset of, hey, you know what? I don't need this job. There's going to be something else down the road. And these are just friends I haven't met yet. and they want me to be good. You can walk in that door in a whole different way than if you walk in the door with, I'm so nervous. I don't know any of these people. I hope I don't, mess up my lines. I hope and you start to self-sabotage. Take control, do your work, and go and give your best self. Chances are you may not get the gig, but each time you do it, you're meeting new people and you're honing your craft and you're getting better at what you do. And sooner or later, that will pay off in spades. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. It did for me. Another thing successful people do is they understand when to say no. Now, I would normally say, because that was sort of my motto as a young person, I said yes to everything. I think saying yes is a very valuable tool because you don't know where it could lead. Like, one of my first jobs was in South Africa. I was auditioning for a show in Las Vegas, and a woman came up and said, hey, I have a show. I like you. I have a show that's going to South Africa. And I was like, I'm going. I could always go to Vegas, but an opportunity to South Africa? I was gone. And when I went there, that started a whole different career for me that I didn't even know about. And I saw the whole world from that job. I went everywhere. So saying yes is very important. However, you do have to understand when to say no. What I mean by that is there are times you'll have a friend and your friend will say to you, I know you have that thing that's real important for you to go do, that audition, or I know you have that shoot that's real important, but I really want to go, can we go to this party the night before? And so then in the morning, and you're like, oh yeah, sure, because you don't want to hurt your friend's feelings. And then in the morning you wake up and your bags under your eyes and you're thinking to yourself, why did I do that? I feel terrible. I don't want to go to the audition. You have to learn to say no. You can say to your friend, I love that you asked me to go to that party, but I've got an audition tomorrow and I've got my sights set on my craft and my goal. We can party when I'm done with that audition, but right now, that's where I'm focused. So know how to bring it in so you can stay simple. A lot of people will try to distract you, and you have to just be true to yourself so you hang on to your goal. So knowing how to say no and when to say no is a very, very important thing. Another thing I want to talk about, you guys are young, so you're learning how to manage your money, etc. And money is an important thing for an artist. And you have to definitely be aware of money, but you have to prioritize your time over money. Here's what I mean. Time is something that once it's gone, you cannot get it back. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. The moment is all you've got. So you have to know about utilizing the quality of your time versus the quantity of money. It's important for you to invest in yourself. And it could mean financially, but it more means about your time. How are you using your time? Are you doing 3 things for your career in this day? So it's important. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have to value your finances. I mean, successful people, they know how to invest their money and how to avoid spending it on things that don't matter, okay? What I mean by that is, let's say you're a photographer and you have a choice of buying that amazing camera that you want or going with your friends on a vacation. Vacations are so much fun, but when you invest in that camera, you are setting yourself up on your career. You're investing in your career. You can party with your friends. You don't have to go on every vacation. And let's face it, artists have to make certain sacrifices. That's sort of the idea of that. Know how to spend your money. Ask yourself before you're going to spend it a couple different ways. Is that good for my career? Or is that just a lot of fun? Now, we all have to blow off some steam now and then. That's my big challenge is actually going out and having some fun because I love to work on my stuff. And sometimes I forget about my friends, and that's not good either. But I do prioritize my time and value my finances towards my career rather than squander it on things that, may not be so important. At this point, I'm going to sort of switch gears a little bit. I want to tell you a little story. I was called by a friend of mine who said, my sister has a daughter. And this girl is, she's in high school. She's in her choir, but she's very shy. But they give her the solos. She has a really nice voice. And she wants to audition for The Voice. They're coming through to Dallas. Remember, I'm in Houston. So she said, would you listen to her and maybe give her, some pointers on how to sing for the Voice audition? I said, sure. I said, yes. And so my friend came with her sister, and they brought this girl, her niece, and her niece's mom. I hope that makes sense for you. And they came in, and I said to the girl, so what's your name? And she said, very shy. Danielle. I said, I'm sorry, what's your name? Danielle. Oh, okay, Danielle. What are you going to sing for me today? Do you have music? Do you have a tape? How are you going to sing? Oh, well, I have a cassette, but I left it in the car, she said. I said, oh, well, do you want me to play it for you? What key do you need it in? I don't know. Okay. What are you going to sing? You're going to sing a cappella without music. I'm going to sing Jesus Takes the Wheel, she says. I said, okay, great. So she starts to sing it. She sang about a verse and then got into the chorus, and then she stopped. And I said, what's wrong? She said, I forgot the words. I can't remember the words. Now, I have to tell you, when she first started to sing, I was like, what a beautiful tone she has naturally. Obviously, there's a gift inside this girl. But if she's not prepared with her music, she's not prepared with a track, she doesn't know the words, how can I help her except to tell her, which I did, you have to learn your words before you go to the audition, and you have to be prepared. And when you walk in the room, you can't be looking at the floor like you don't know where you are. You got to walk in the room and own it. Those people want you to be good. They want you to be on the show. They want you to be on The Voice. So they want you to be good. They're friendly. They're just far away, and you don't know them yet. So I gave her, whatever I could give her, pointers and all that. And then I went about my life. They went about their life. And about a month later, my friend calls and says, hey, you'll never guess what. But the people in Dallas, they selected her to go to Hollywood to audition for the show. I said, wow, that's so good. I'm glad she probably learned her words, and she did a couple things that I mentioned to her, I hope. And so she went, and then a month later, my friend called and said, she got on the show. I said, what? She got on the show? Yes. I said, well, how's she doing? She said, I can't tell you. I said, what do you mean? Well, we have these, confidentiality agreements we had to sign, because as the show is being filmed and ongoing, they don't want to give away anything, right? Because they have to announce the semifinalists and the finalists and then the winner. So I said, oh, okay, but thank you for telling me she's on the show. Now, I wasn't watching the show. My fault. At that point, I was going back to school to finish my degree, which I didn't do because I was performing when I was younger. So I wanted to go back and I wanted to finish it. So I got rid of my television so I could concentrate on my work. And so I didn't know what happened. And sure enough, that little girl, Danielle, was Danielle Bradbury, the girl that won The Voice. She won. Now, there's lots of reasons why she won. I have my own theories around it. She was the right age, young, malleable. She's a country singer. Country singers make a lot of market noise and a lot of money. Country music generates a lot of money. She obviously listened to what those wonderful coaches from The Voice were telling her. Blake Shelton took her. And they styled her, they figured her out, what she's good at. They already know all these things, and they put that all together into this winning package. And she won the whole darn thing. She now has her own tour bus. And that was this little shy girl that I had met a few months earlier who wasn't prepared with her music. That's an amazing story. And that could happen to anybody, but it can't happen to everybody. But at least if you're trying and you understand that it can happen and you want to work hard and listen to your mentors and so forth, then it can happen. Now, I think we have a great clip for you to see of her winning that show. We want to show that for you right now. So hold on one second, and we're going to show you that winning moment when Danielle Bradbury won The Voice. Here we go.
The winner of The Voice is Danielle Bradbury. Team Blake.
Blake Shelton's Danielle Bradbury beat out Michelle Chamuel and the Swan Brothers to win The Voice earlier tonight, June 18th on NBC TV. Host Carson Daly provided the dramatic finish, and all of the competitors and their coaches, Shelton, Adam Levine, Shakira, and Usher, all looked on as the 16-year-old from Texas took home the coveted grand prize, which includes a recording contract. Chamuel got to share tonight's stage with rockers One Republic, and the Swan Brothers admittedly were honored to perform on stage with one of their heroes, Bob Seger. Before she took home the honor of being The Voice, Bradbury sang with one of her faves, country superstar Hunter Hayes. Other performers on the all-star finale of The Voice included Cher with her new single, Florida Georgia Line, Bruno Mars, and Pitbull with next season's returning coach, Christina Aguilera.
Pretty amazing, huh? Now, one of the things that I want to say about that is what happened in that process is that Danielle started to understand her brand, who she is in the market. She's a young country singer. They lightened her hair. They styled her clothes. She came out of her shell. She worked on her vocal. She became a country star. She became one. And that part of branding, that process of branding, is a very, very important process for you. I know in my own life that I do a lot of different things. I was a dancer and a singer and an actor, so they call that a triple threat on Broadway. So I did that work. And then I really just wanted to concentrate more on my acting and my singing. So my dancing kind of went away. So I was constantly rebranding and re-evolving, so that now I really love my singing. I do love my acting, but I don't pursue it in the way that I used to. And because I'm really enjoying singing right now, which has kind of happened later in life for me. So this evolution, this evolving, is something that is always ongoing. And one of the most important things that I think Danielle did in evolving into the country star that she is she listened. She listened to the mentors. She listened to her stylists. She listened to the vocal coaches. She did all the things that they told her she needed to do. And she found herself in this amazing career. So proud of her. Now, when you are branding yourself, one of the things that is very useful to do is what we call an elevator speech. Imagine yourself walking into a building and you're going to meet a recording artist agent, or you're going to meet a video graphics design team, or some other thing that is related to your particular path. And you step into the elevator to go up to the 5th floor where their office is. And there's a very important looking executive standing next to you. And on the way up that elevator, he turns to you and says, or she turns to you and says, tell me about yourself. You have one chance to make a first impression, and you need to be prepared for it. The best way to be prepared for it is to craft what we call an elevator speech. That means you've got 15 to 30 seconds to tell people enough about you that they will be interested in knowing more about you. So what I'd like to do is sort of talk to you about a few things that I think help to craft this elevator speech. One of the first things that I like to do when I'm doing this exercise is sort of muse with myself. Where do I see myself in 5 years? And if I were dreaming really big, what would that be? So, in Danielle's case, if I would have asked her, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you think she would have specifically said, well, I will have won The Voice. I will have won The Voice. I will have my own tour bus. I will have recording contracts. I will make records with all kinds of country stars, and I will be a big star. Now, if she told me that the day that I met her, I'm not sure I would have believed her. But she had a big dream, and she knew somehow to listen to everybody along the way. I'm a nobody. I know a little bit about stuff, but I knew enough to get her to Dallas. And from there, she got to Hollywood, and where the people who make it happen made it happen for her. She listened. So she had the big dream. Where did she see herself in 5 years? Here she is. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Dream big. Keep a journal. Write stuff down. When you write stuff down, you commit it. You commit muscle memory because you wrote it or you typed it in your computer. You also have something tangible to look at to say, that's what I told myself I would do. Now, sometimes you might look back at that in a few years and say, how ridiculous. I didn't really want to do that. You're evolving. You might change, but it might keep you on your path too. So it's a good idea to dream big. Ask yourself, where do I see myself in 5 years? And go ahead and muse a little bit. Write it down and get crazy. I own a mansion. I own a yacht. I have 1 million friends. I have 40 million Twitter followers. I have, go for it. It's a good exercise to get you to step into your fullness. The next question I would ask, where does my art take me? So like in my case, when I was a little boy, I knew I wanted to be a performer from the time I was 4 or 5 years old. I always wanted to do it. Now, I didn't share that with everybody because I didn't know I was supposed to, I guess. But I had that in my heart. And I always, in my mind, would think to myself, when I'm older, I'm going to be, because I went and saw a few Broadway plays. So my first play in 8th grade, I went to New York City. I grew up in Buffalo. I went down to New York City and I saw a chorus line on Broadway. And there's a character in a chorus line called Bobby. And he's from Buffalo because Michael Bennett, who wrote a chorus line, with the choreographer who created a chorus line, he was from Buffalo. So they had this character, Bobby, who did these plays in his garage, and he was very funny. And he did not like Buffalo. The big line is, committing suicide in Buffalo is redundant. That's what he says. And I always agreed with that because I was like, yes, I want to see the world. I want to, do something bigger. And I said, when I grow up, I'm going to play Bobby in a chorus line. I was just joking. Guess what? I did play Bobby in a chorus line. That dream, when I saw the audition, I was like, hey, that's what I wanted to be. Like, I talked about that in 8th grade. I'm going to go to the audition. And I got it. I didn't let go of the dream. So I'm just encouraging you to think about, where could my art take me? Because it just might. It just might. And even if it doesn't, What you will learn along the way will serve you in the rest of your life like you don't know yet, because that will evidence itself later as you evolve in life. Just have faith, no fear, go for it. And you'll be surprised where your art could take you. Now, once you sort of muse on those things, you can write your elevator speech, and you want to make it short, 15 to 30 seconds. That's all you've got. So you got to put your name in there. You got to put your craft in there, what it is you do, and something about yourself that makes somebody want to make someone bite, that makes someone want to know more about you. So, like in my case, when I was younger, I would say, my name is David LaDuca, and I'm a triple threat. I sing, dance, and act at a very high level. And one day I'm going to be on Broadway. There's an elevator speech that shows that you have a dream, what my name is, what I do, where I see my art taking me. And hopefully that someone would say, wow, Broadway, that's a really cool thing. They want to know more. And then you hand them your card and you say, yes, and if you'd like to know more, we can have lunch sometime. Let me tell you something. If you can put an elevator speech together like that, that's going to hook somebody like that, and even if it doesn't, because it's not going to hook everybody, but you keep putting it out there. My mother, I grew up Italian, my mother would always say, throw all the pasta against the wall and see what sticks. You can't be everything to everybody, but you could be something to someone. And most importantly, you're everything to yourself. Now, that doesn't mean be selfish. That means be self-nurturing. Do the things for yourself, your self-care. Take care of yourself. If you're a singer, take care of your voice. You better be hydrating, drinking a lot of water, getting enough sleep, practicing your scales, warming up, relaxing. Singers got to be relaxed. All those things. But you want to practice your elevator speech. Hi, my name is Kim. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I've written 30 songs in the past month. I'm just making it up. 30 songs you wrote, like that's like a song a day. Yes, and I could even write one for you. Gives you another way to just keep getting in. Put yourself out there. Keep putting yourself out there. Enter that elevator like you don't need anybody, but you want everything. And you've already got it. You have to, it's really cool to approach life like you already have what you need. I don't mean that to be in a conceited way. I just mean that if you approach life from a sense of having enough, of being enough, a sense of abundance and not of lack. If you approach life from a sense of lack, then you're like, I gotta have that job. I need this, I gotta have that. That people can smell that desperation. You're not gonna get anywhere because people don't want to be around that. You have to come from a sense of abundance of, I got it all right here. It's very nice to meet you. This is all of me that I have enough of, that I am enough of. And where do we go from here? Instead of that other way. So a sense of that you already have achieved it goes a long way. Changes your attitude. And it changes how you come across to people you haven't met yet. One chance. Elevator speech. Now we're going to come back to that in a little bit. But I just wanted to share with you that all of us, we're all in this world together. Everybody has different experiences. Some people know a lot about what you're going to do with your life, mentors and so forth, who know about the business and the craft and the people you got to meet and, all that. Who do you know that can help you do those things, right? That's part of your 3 things a day that you can do for your career. Seek them out. Who are those recording labels? Who are those musicians you want to work with? Who's a songwriter for you? Who's a graphic artist you admire? Why do they do what they do? Can I strike up a conversation with them on social media? Maybe we can have a friendship. You have to figure out, who do you know that can help you And then I'll tell you, everyone you know can help you. Everyone, even people who don't know anything about what it is you do. For example, I just had my demo reel done for my acting reel. And I asked people who weren't in the business, I said, feel free to be brutal with your input. Just come back at me with whatever you want to say. And some of my friends who know nothing about the industry said, oh, that second clip that, where you're in that movie and you play that really crazy guy, it's like too long. Like, I got it. I wanted to see more right away. That was so valuable because the agents in LA and New York that I sent to, they said the exact same thing. That second clip, we got it. Shorten it, move on. We don't have time to watch 3 minutes. We only need a minute and a half. So I had to be like, all the noise, all the stuff of watching myself saying, but I was so, oh, look at how I made that face. Look at, that's good. No, a minute and a half. Boom, 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 boom. I'm a product in the industry. Yes, I'm a person, but you have to get used to thinking of yourself as a niche in the market. How do I make myself unique? Show the most of yourself. Sometimes less is more. Simple. It's not easy. So everyone can help you with something. Now, you also have to know when it's not helpful, but you don't have to be mean about it. Just say, thank you, I'll take that into consideration. And you're moving on because you've got your path set for you. Now, just like Danielle did, and I've done it all my career, and maybe I should have done it a little more when I look back at it. So that's why I wanted to share it with you, because sometimes I tend to think I don't need anyone's help. Successful people, they seek out mentorships. Now, if someone's not being a good mentor, then you don't want them. But a good mentor is so valuable because they can help you move through things that would take you too long to get through by yourself. That if you listen to what they said, you would just step over that, step over that, step over that, and you'd be way ahead because you're listening to someone who is an expert, who really, really knows. So a successful person is not necessarily the smartest person in the room, but they go out of their way purposefully to surround themselves with people and take the guidance from the people who are smarter than them. That is key. Back in the day, you could look at someone like Madonna. Now, when I was your age, and I'm assuming you're all, sort of young teens and so forth, Madonna was coming up. And I would listen to her on the radio and be like, she can't sing, she's terrible. But what she did that was so smart was she surrounded herself with people that knew more. Jelly Bean Benitez was her producer. He was a big producer back in the day. And Jelly Bean Benitez knew how to write a song and put her out there and make a show for her. She was a modern dancer. She studied Martha Graham dance back in the day. And then she became this singer. She had a bigger dream. She had a bigger dream than a modern dancer dream. She wanted to be a big star. So what did she do? She surrounded herself with the right people and she listened to them. And there's a girl who doesn't have a great voice, but she's a diva because she made herself, she branded herself to be a diva. I'm not saying she's not talented. She is talented, but we all know there are people out there that are ridiculously talented. Some of them, you don't even know them because they didn't listen or didn't pursue, or for whatever reason beyond their circumstances, their career didn't go. But Madonna's did, God bless her. And she is a huge, big star from my generation. Now, you can say that about, Ariana Grande and blah, blah, blah. There's lots of, every one of the stories that I'm telling, you could find somebody today, and that's the same thing. It's all the same thing. So successful people seek out mentors. If you're not the smartest person in the room, you'll be the smartest person in the room if you surround yourself with people that know more than you do. Very important lesson. Also, you have to have this hunger, this divine dissatisfaction that Martha Graham was talking about, an eagerness to learn. Successful people, they know they'll never master a certain subject, but they understand that because there's an infinite amount of knowledge to learn, all they can do is strive to constantly consume it and bring it into you. I had a wonderful acting teacher who would always say, don't strive for perfection, strive for excellence. When you try to strive for perfection, all of a sudden you're not human. Who's perfect? Nobody I know. But if you strive, and you'll always be disappointed because you won't achieve it. But if you strive for excellence, doing it the best you can, to thine own self be true, you will surprise yourself at how much you can achieve. Because that other way of thinking, I've got to be perfect, you're going to close yourself down because it's not achievable. Make yourself the best you can and surround yourself with people who know how to make you even better than that. That is a key learning there. Mentorship and an eagerness to learn. Also, while you're learning, you have to take actions. You have to almost assume, like I was saying before, that you already know everything. You're just out there doing it. And it's kind of fake it till you make it, but it's a little more studied and strategic than that saying would imply. Fake it till you make it. You see all those auditions on those television shows where people, like, they can't sing and they're like, rah, 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 and then what happens? They get cut. Thank you. Done. But an attitude of, if you've studied your work and you have a attitude that you're already achieving it and you take action during the learning, you're going to put yourself into a better path. If you're not going to practice what you're learning, then there's no point in learning it, right? So you have to practice it and put it out there. Keep doing it. Don't be afraid to fail. That's when you're going to learn. And successful people understand this. They earn while they learn, if that makes sense to you. If you execute a task, if you wait to exercise a task until you know it perfectly, you'll never learn it. You'll never do it. You have to do it and earn it while you're learning it. That is a really good thing, because when you put things off, you've lost the day. And there goes the time. Remember, time is that thing you can't get back. Every day we're getting a little older. And you guys are at that age where there's a window for you to achieve. Like Danielle did. She was at the bottom of that window. She was like 15, 16. If she was 24, they would have thought twice about making her win, because now she's at the end of that window, and what kind of career is she going to have then? So you guys are right at the right time to dive in, bite the apple, and do as much as you can with it. Time is on your side right now, but time is ticking too, so make use of it. Now, one of the things that I think, having a long career, one of the things that I've learned is about accepting criticism. Now, there have been times when I've done a play where I've gotten a great review, sound bites like, he's fabulous, right? And then another review will come out, the same play, the reviewer saw it the same night, and they said, well, he can't get out of his own way, and I didn't like it. Those are personal opinions of people that are paid for their personal opinions, but they're personal opinions. And if I believe the good one, then I have to believe the bad one. So I say, don't believe any of them. Just do your work. People will tell you things. You're going to hear things in your ear that you think you need to hear, that's you think is going to make you feel stronger so you can achieve. And you might hear on the other side stuff that tears you down a little bit, that makes you feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. What am I thinking? That's all noise. That has nothing to do with you doing your work. How many times have you heard the story where people have been rejected, knocking on doors, rejected, then they get that one opportunity. If they would have listened to all those other people and not gone for it, they wouldn't have had that opportunity. So just do your work. You don't have to listen to anything anybody is saying out there. Now, your mentors are going to tell you, you want to listen to your mentors, but other people who are having like personal opinions about things, they can have them and they're valid, but they're not valid to your path doing your work. Did I like hearing that I was fabulous in that play? Of course I did. Did I like hearing that I couldn't get out of my own way? Yes, because it made me say, hey, is there a way where I'm in my own way? And how do I work on that? I use that to work on myself so people wouldn't be saying that anymore. So even that bad stuff made sense. But to take those things to heart, no. Do your work. You can't believe either, really. You can listen to it, and as long as you put it through the filter of how does that make me get better, instead of letting it tear you down, or instead of getting a false sense of, I'm fabulous, I don't even have to do anything. The Hollywood's going to call me. Nobody's going to call me. You got to go out there and get it. And you got to tell people you want it. That's what the elevator speech is about. I'd like to touch on just like a final thing here around remaining optimistic. Optimism is probably your best friend in life. A successful person does not get discouraged if there's an obstacle presented in your way. You have to remain diligent and on your path. Understand that if you panic or you're complaining, it's not going to solve whatever problem you're perceiving, okay? So, you know, for example, if I was putting together a show and the obstacle that I was having was that I didn't have the money for the best equipment that I needed to do my show. I'm making it up. I don't know. However it'll relate to you, you can plug in those values. But if I'm panicked, oh my gosh, I don't have that equipment. I can't do this. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. Or if I start complaining, like, see, this always happens to me. The victim. None of that's going to help you. You have to remain optimistic. Okay, I don't have the best equipment, but I have enough to get the job done. And then next time, maybe I'll have enough to get what I need to do it the way I have that vision. But I'm not going to lose sight of my vision, and I'm going to remain optimistic that I'm good enough and I have enough. I'm valuable just as I am. And I'm going to remain authentic to myself and use all of my best self and put it out into the world. And I think if you can maintain that attitude of optimism, no matter what you decide to do with your life, if you're going to be an artist, that's awesome. If you're going to be an artist for a couple of years and then go do something else, that's awesome. Life in itself is creative. You create every moment of your day. People always say to me, you're so creative. You know, you sing and you dance and you act and you write and you do all these things, blah, blah, blah. And they're sitting there with, you know, a family with 4 kids. And I'm like, don't you see how creative that is? That is kind of, you know, biologically what you're put on earth for. To create, procreate, right? And pass along your line and so forth. That is creative in the most essential sense of the word. So if you're now blessed with a gift or a dream and a gift, and maybe even just a dream, you can create the reality daily, moment by moment. And if you use the things that I've talked about today, a lot of those different things, you'll be well served on that path to discover more about yourself and to evolve into the artist that's inside of you. I'll leave you with the last image here. Michelangelo, the great sculptor, he carved things in marble that were remarkable. It looked just like a person. It was like alive, but it was stone. Michelangelo saw that thing that he sculpted in a big block of marble, of raw marble. If you've ever seen marble that's not polished, it's a rock. It looks like a rock. He chipped away at that raw rock to reveal inside that beautiful masterpiece. And that process of creativity is exactly the same thing as what's inside all of us. We can take our raw rock self and chip away at all of the stuff that can fall away to reveal the masterpiece inside of us. And then you polish it up by practicing. Excuse me. And when you have that masterpiece to share with the world, you're just going to be amazed at the results. So I'll just finish up here by saying that my friends at Evolve are doing a remarkable service to young artists in the New England area. And you have an opportunity to plug into that. So I encourage you to stay on this path, because I didn't have that kind of thing when I was growing up. I was making up my own rules as I went along. I didn't have people to tell me what to go do. I had to sort of kind of figure it out by myself. And had I been involved in a program like Evolve, which will bring together all these amazing creative professionals who will be able to mentor you and bring you to a new place that you may not even know you have inside you. It's a pretty amazing thing, just like Danielle did. Her mother knew to call me and say, hey, could you take a look at Danielle? See what we see, the rock, but you might see the masterpiece. And look what happened with her. So I encourage you to stay true to yourself and practice and stay involved in the Evolve community. It's really a remarkable thing. And I'm so proud to be able to speak with you about that today and everything we talked about. And I hope that you've learned something. And I guess that's what I've got to say to y'all for today. So stick with it. And thank you all so much for giving me the pleasure of your time.
Well, I'd like to give a real thank you to David for taking the time to share your heart with us and encourage us to take the next steps in our artistic pursuits. If you have any questions for David, feel free to post them in the group or comment them right here in this live post. We'll be going live on our Instagram for a Q&A session, so go ahead and check that out. Our Insta handle is @EvolveNE. Next week, David will be performing a special concert for Father's Day right here on Facebook. Believe me, you will not want to miss it. Like I said before, David is a talented performer and a great entertainer. And if you enjoyed hanging out with him and learning from him tonight, it'd mean a lot to him and me and everybody at Evolve if you'd hop over to his Facebook page and check out his Father's Day event next Sunday. Well, thank you so much for participating in tonight's battle over the Starbucks gift card by liking our page and inviting 2 friends. The lucky winner of the Mermaid Cup will be announced in the comments below. Well, thanks so much, David, again for your time, and a huge thanks to you for joining us. If you like this live and would like to join the discussion, check out our group. We would love to have you in our community. Just search for Evolve New England and click join. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.